According to the famous skeptic Dr. Bart Ehrman, Jesus' mother thought he was crazy, therefore he says the virgin birth most likely didn't happen. Here's Dr. Ehrman in conversation with Michael Shermer.
What makes it a little bit more interesting is that in chapter 2 of Mark, Jesus is teaching, so he's an adult now, he's teaching, he starts out as an adult in Mark. He's teaching these crowds, and he's got these crowds around him, and he's been casting out demons and things. And it says that his mother and his brothers came to take him out of the public view because they thought he had gone out of his mind.
Interesting.
His mother.
Wow.
Didn't understand that he was doing miracles. Thought he'd gone crazy.
Whoa.
That seems to be unlikely if she knew that he was born of a virgin.
Right.
She was his mother.
Okay, so if Jesus really was virgin-born, why exactly is his family reacting to him this way? Well, as we've learned, anytime someone suggests an absurdity or contradiction or an error in the text, we need to go back and read it for ourselves, so here's what we find in Mark's Gospel. It says, "When his family heard of it, they went out to restrain him, for people were saying he has gone out of his mind. And the scribes who came down from Jerusalem said, He has Beelzebul, and by the ruler of the demons he cast out demons. And he called them to him and spake to them in parables. How can Satan cast out Satan? If a kingdom is divided against itself, that kingdom cannot stand. And if a house is divided against itself, that house will not be able to stand. And if Satan has risen up against himself and is divided, he cannot stand, but his end is come." Now, let's think about this for a moment and consider the context. So far, Mark has told us about several miracles that Jesus had performed. Among the sick Jesus healed were a demoniac, Peter's mother-in-law, a leper, a paralytic, and a man with a withered hand. Most of these miracles reportedly happened in Capernaum, about 20 miles from Jesus' hometown of Nazareth. He also healed a whole crowd of people. Jesus' family shows up in Mark 3:21, claiming that he lost his marble. It's in the very next verse that Jesus' enemies attribute Jesus' power to Beelzebub, and he warns them against committing the unpardonable sin. Therefore, it appears that Jesus wasn't being opposed by his enemies or his own family because of a lack of miracles. Now, you could argue that the relatives were unaware of the miracles the other people in the same passage were aware of, but that doesn't seem to make a whole lot of sense. Scribes as far as Jerusalem had come to give him trouble because they heard of what he was doing, as verse 22 tells us. So Jesus was being opposed for other reasons, such as breaking the Sabbath and causing problems with the Jewish authorities. So what exactly is my point? Well, for me, it just seems really strange to suggest that Jesus' miracles wouldn't have convinced them, but somehow the virgin birth would have changed his siblings' mind. We have a very good reason to believe that Jesus' relatives were just as aware of Jesus' miracles as the crowd was. So this had to be about something else. Furthermore, we're actually never told that Mary thought Jesus was crazy. It's not stated in the text that she expressly said that. Rather, this idea is attributed to a group of Jesus' family as a whole. As we're all probably painfully aware from our everyday experience, any family conflict can have a variety of different causes and disagreements among the family. Mary could have followed along hoping to diffuse the situation or mediate, not because she shared the brothers' outlook on Jesus. It's also unclear when exactly the brothers were even told the infancy stories. They may have been informed much later, perhaps after the resurrection, when such a story would have been far more plausible to hear. I mean, how exactly does one go about telling their family that their oldest sibling was miraculously conceived? Jesus may have seemed crazy to them because he wasn't preaching the kind of messianic reign that they had expected. He's out there gathering fishermen and partying with tax collectors and touching lepers. He isn't looking like a David-like figure to them. He was allegedly breaking the Sabbath and causing problems with Jewish leaders, and this could have been a major family concern. This could also have been causing a fear that this was creating unwanted attention that would eventually be drawn to themselves. And there is also always the possibility of sibling jealousy. Clearly, Jesus' family were human beings just like the rest of us. Even at times, Peter thought Jesus was wrong, so it's not really that weird that his family thought that he had some issues as well. Skeptics should probably just drop this objection. Saying that Mary thought Jesus was crazy reads too much into the text, and we don't know exactly what the brothers knew, what exactly they were thinking, or even if a miraculous birth would have made a difference to their thoughts in this particular situation. So don't let Bart Ehrman spoil your Christmas.